Hello dear students. For lesson 2, we will be talking about Earth subsystems. Earth is sometimes called the water planet, or the blue planet, because seas cover more than 2/3 of its surface. Earth is the only planet or moon in the solar system with rain that falls from clouds, runs over the land, and collects in extensive oceans. It is also the only body we know that supports life. In this lesson, you will understand the subsystem of the planet where you stand right now.
Earth is a complex system made up of many smaller systems through which matter and energy are continuously cycled. Energy and matter flow through Earth's spheres: Geosphere, Hydrosphere, Atmosphere, and Biosphere. The atmosphere surrounds the Earth and acts like a blanket of air. Energy flows through the atmosphere mostly by convection. The biosphere consists of the living organisms made mainly of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. The hydrosphere is all the water found on our planet. And the geosphere or lithosphere is the solid Earth that includes the continental and ocean crust.
We live at the bottom of an invisible ocean called the atmosphere, a layer of gases surrounding our planet. Nitrogen and oxygen account for 99% of the gases in dry air, with argon, carbon dioxide, helium, neon, and other gases making up minute portions. Water vapor and dust are also part of Earth's atmosphere. One of the most important processes by which the heat on the Earth's surface is redistributed is through atmospheric circulation. There is also a constant exchange of heat and moisture between the atmosphere and the hydrosphere through the hydrologic cycle. By the most general biophysiological definition, the biosphere is the global ecological system integrating all living beings and their relationships, including their interaction with the elements of the lithosphere, geosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. It is the set of all life forms on Earth. It covers all ecosystems, from the marine living organisms, sea creatures, birds in the air, animals on land, vegetation, dead plants, animals in the ground, to microscopic organisms. For the majority of life on Earth, the base of the food chain comprises photosynthetic organisms. During photosynthesis, CO2 is sequestered from the atmosphere, while oxygen is released as a byproduct. The biosphere is a CO2 sink, and therefore, an important part of the carbon cycle. The carbon cycle is the process by which carbon is transferred among the atmosphere, oceans, soil, and living organisms. Also, isolated and complex ecosystems thrive in the deep sea floor at depths beyond the reach of sunlight. The base of the food chain for such ecosystems is called chemosynthetic organisms. Instead of sunlight, these organisms use energy from hydrothermal vents or methane seeping through rocks and sediments to produce simple sugars. A hydrosphere is the total amount of water on a planet. The hydrosphere includes water that is on the surface of the planet, underground, and in the air. A planet's hydrosphere can be liquid, vapor, or ice. On Earth, liquid water exists on the surface in the form of oceans, lakes and rivers. About 70% of the Earth is covered with liquid water and much of it is in the form of ocean water. But only 3% of Earth's water is fresh, 2/3 are in the form of ice, and the remaining 1/3 is present in streams, lakes, and groundwater. The geosphere or lithosphere is considered that portion of the Earth system that includes the Earth's interior, rocks and minerals, landforms and the processes that shape the Earth's surface. The Earth itself, contrary to Christopher Columbus, is not a perfect sphere. The plate tectonics is an important process shaping the surface of the Earth. Its primary driving mechanism is the Earth's internal heat, such as that in mantle convection. Let's have some history check. Since about 1980, an important paradigm has emerged in the geosciences, analogous to the plate tectonics revolution of the 1950s and 1960s. This paradigm, called Earth System Science, or simply, Earth System, acknowledges that changes in the solid Earth result from interactions among the atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere and the lithosphere. A good example is the increasing awareness of the role of microbes in generating ore deposits. Another example is the way tectonics influences weathering rates, which in turn affect global climate.
Earth system science also includes studies of the ways energy and materials cycle through the different spheres, as well as the workings of climate in the biosphere. Solid Earth geoscientists will be familiar with the rock cycle, which appears in almost every introductory geology book. Earth system science, by contrast, shows how elements like carbon or energy sources like solar radiation cycle through the lithosphere and all of the other spheres.
Notable facts. One of the first scientists to push for a more integrated or holistic approach in the understanding of the universe, and by extension the Earth, was Friedrich Wilhelm Heinrich Alexander von Humboldt. He considered the universe as one interacting entity. The term, biosphere, was popularized by Vladimir Vernadsky, a Russian-Ukrainian scientist who hypothesized that life is a geological force that shapes the Earth.
In the 1970s, the Gaia hypothesis was jointly developed by James Lovelock, an English scientist naturalist, and Lynn Margulis, an American microbiologist. According to the Gaia hypothesis, the biosphere is a self-regulating system that is capable of controlling its physical and chemical environment. In 1983, NASA Advisory Council established the Earth System Science Committee. The committee, chaired by Mustafa Chahan, published a groundbreaking report, Earth System Science, a program for global change, in 1988. For the first time, scientists were able to demonstrate how the many systems interact.
That ends our history check. Let's now go back to our topic. So how does matter and energy flow across the four subsystems of the Earth? The Earth consists of four subsystems, across whose boundaries matter and energy flows: the atmosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, and geosphere. The atmosphere provides the geosphere with heat and energy needed for rock breakdown and erosion. The biosphere receives gases, heat, and sunlight or energy from the atmosphere. It receives water from the hydrosphere and a living medium from the geosphere. The human population has increased rapidly since the 1700s. For most of human history, there were fewer than 500 million people on Earth. In mid-2009, 6.7 billion people inhabited our planet. Because of these, extensive pollution is everywhere.
As a student, what can you do to save not only a particular system, but the Earth itself? Write your answer in a table like the one shown in your modules.
That concludes our second lesson for this week. Don't forget to read your modules and answer the activities. Have a nice day, students.